For the drive into East Needle Peak, you definitely need a high clearance vehicle. We made it to East Needle Peak. You can see my rig down there. The other folks, they decided to take their smaller vehicles down into the creek bed and drive to get a little bit closer to where I am now. Off in the distance, that's the Big Bend National Park. Beautiful park. If you haven't been, you should check it out. I've climbed up onto this little hill here because Terry says I can find agate up here. And just FYI, that is East Needle Peak. Let's see what we can find. I think I found a good spot here at East Needle Peak. I've just wandered around a few feet and I spot this, which is clearly some kind of mossy agate. Look at this right here. There's your chalcedony. Another little piece of it right here. Ooh, I think this is going to be a good day. Just a step or two from where I picked up that agate nodule, I see chalcedony right here. It looks a little more interesting than what I was finding at the other ranches. Here's another piece of it here. It sort of looks darker to me. There's another piece right there. Let's see if this is anything. Nope. It's just a little bitty piece. And today, being my last day out here, I'm going to try to only pick up really nice things. I'm still within about 10 feet from where I started. I picked up this beautiful little seam agate right here. Look at that. It's got quartzy stuff going on here. That sure is pretty. I think that's a keeper. I'm still up here on this plateau in the shadow of East Needle Peak when I spotted. This looks really interesting to me. I haven't touched it yet. It has a green look and it almost looks, well, sagenitic. Although now that I'm looking at it with the phone screen, maybe that's just quartz. Let's see what this is right here. Ooh, well, there's something going on inside this one that looks somewhat sagenitic. Although I believe that's just the way the quartz crystals are growing. Although, I don't know. It has a greenish look too, so I think I'm going to keep this one. I'm finding a lot of this sort of, oh gosh, it's like a golden jasper. I broke the edge off of this piece here. It's pretty stuff, right? But it's very common, and I think at least early in the day, I'm going to avoid collecting this now. If nothing else, just to save weight. So check this out. This is what I call the Great Agate Trap. This giant nodule right here sort of looks like it could be agate, right? I saw it and I went and picked it up. Luckily, a chunk had already broken off. So you can see that there's like a layer, a skin that's a couple of millimeters thick, but inside it's just this mudstone looking crap right here. That's not anything good. So you don't want to carry that one all the way home, only to get it on the saw and be very disappointed. I also want to show you another piece of this beautiful seam agate. Look at this one here. That's pretty stuff. There's a lot of it out here, but it's just too early in the day to be putting so much weight on my shoulders and my backpack. So I think that one's going to stay, along with the dud. I'm finished exploring this particular hilltop. Now comes the fun part. Now I have to go down and then back up to that hill over there. I made it. There's the peak where I spent the first half hour or so of the morning. I wish I'd stayed over there because so far I haven't seen any agates on this side. That's a bummer, but who cares? Check out this view. Once again, there's Big Bend National Park. And if you look, you can see my rig way down there. Poor little guy all by himself. Well, actually, Rain goes with him, so they have each other. Now what I'll probably do is just mosey around here a little bit, see if I can find any sign of agates. So far, though, I haven't seen anything. And then I'll head back down, maybe down to the lower levels. Who knows? I somehow managed to make it down that treacherous hill without killing myself. I'm now into this flat area here. I see what appears to be a bunch of petrified wood. You see, it looks like there was one large piece there that has just broken into smaller pieces. Let's see. Yeah, this is for sure petrified wood. I'll probably grab a few pieces. And then I just noticed this right here. What is that? That's cool. Let's take a look. Well, it is a small piece of that agate. So I'm glad I came down off that hillside. I wasn't finding anything up there. That was a bust. It looks like it's all flowed down here. I'm glad I came down here. I'm finding lots of interesting pieces of agate rock. Look at this one here. This one says, "Tumble me, darn it." And that's exactly what I'm going to do with this beauty. Look at this. I just spotted a piece of this beautiful mossy agate hiding behind a very nasty looking cactus. Let me see if I can reach around. Ow! 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 I'm going to have to use my hammer. That thing's in there. Ow! Really? These cactuses, or cacti, are serious. Look what it just did to me. How mean. Huh. Got me all over. Let me do this without trying to hold the phone. I managed to get it out with the hammer, and it's a little mossy, but not that great, not worth the pain that it inflicted upon me. I've been walking down this little wash section, and I just spotted two interesting rocks. First, there's this one here, which that might be an agate. And then there's this interesting looking rock right here. You see that triangular quartz shape? Let me go ahead and get these out, take a closer look at them. Unfortunately, they were both pretty much duds as far as I'm concerned. That's just some kind of quartz. And then this one, I tried to get it wet, but as you can see, it's just junk. Well, that's okay. You got to try, right? For the most part, I've been ignoring this particular agate. There's a lot of it here, but this piece, you see how it has those swirls right there? I think this will make beautiful slabs and cabs. I really like that pattern, so I'm going to keep this one. Well, what do you think of this pretty piece of seamy, agate stuff I just picked up? It has a light bluish gray color to it. A little bit of banding in there and some quartz. That green is just funk. It's not real. It's some sort of, I don't know, algae. But another one for the meager looking bucket. There really are a lot more targets here in this flat area. I just spotted this beautiful piece of petrified wood right here. Yeah, this stands out. Very easy to spot. That'll help the bucket. I want to show you this one because, not that it's good for lapidary work, it's just interesting. Notice it has that black, well, it looks almost like a chalcedony, but it seems to have formed some crystals and some bots as well. Not sure what kind of rock this is. Those could be like calcite crystals, I guess, but that black stuff is really what interested me. Especially seeing the combination of the round bots and the little angular pieces. I've made my way down into this creek area, exploring these rock-filled walls. What about that one right there? It's probably just quartz, but I think I need to get it out. I saw a couple others too that might be interesting. Let's see. Yep, that's all it was. Just some quartzy type material. Nothing too exciting. So, back it goes. Terry did tell us that we should be able to find fossils down here. I believe that right there is a fossil rock. You see, yeah, there's some obvious imprints of fossils in there. Let me see if I can get that out. I got it out, but it's not very exciting. It's quite soft. But there you can see a fossil. And I'm sure there are others as well. This stuff basically crumbles, so it's definitely not good for lapidary. Now there's a rock that excites me a little bit more. Yeah, you can see it's chalcedony. Looks like it has some banding. Let's see if we can just pull this out. Yeah, there we go. A chunk of chalcedony. At least it's something I can use in the shop. It's been sort of a meager day, so I think I'm going to take this. Look at the bots. That's fun. Oh, I'm really glad I found this one. This is pretty fun, walking down this little stream, looking at the rocks on the wall. Look at this one here. Doesn't that look like a cool piece of petrified wood? I think that's what it is. Sorry about my shadow. The sun's behind me. I can't do anything about it. Ooh. Well, I can't just get it out with my fingers. That's a good sign. Let me grab the hammer. The hammer did the trick. This is a beauty right here. Nice looking piece of wood. Maybe with some color in it? Oh, another keeper. I'm walking back towards where I parked in the creek bed. And Terry had warned me that although logically speaking, you'd expect to find a bunch of great rocks in here, the problem is it's all completely whitewashed. So good luck. I want to try to find an area that's got rocks a little easier to see. Here's a fun piece I just found. It has the quartz, and you can see a little bit of banding, but look at the bots on top, the botryoidal bumps. Yeah, that's fun. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I'll keep it. This might be the most interesting agate nugget I have found. Look at this here. It's not filled with just quartz. It's not very big, but big enough to cut, and I think this could be really pretty on the inside. I actually like this area here that I have found. These are a couple of the rocks that I picked up just wandering around. You can see decent banding anyway. It's just a chunk of chalcedony there with maybe something going on inside. We're going to be leaving soon, so I'm going to start collecting some of these that I was putting down earlier. Here's one of those mossy agates that we find here. This one has all kinds of cool stuff on it. Look at all that, all the bots on there. You know, we can do something with this back in the shop. I'm not sure how useful this one's going to be, but it's really pretty. You see there and there. I don't know that this host rock is any good, and it might be calcite right there, which is too soft. This is definitely some chalcedony banding though. So it's worth taking home and doing something to. I can see my truck just beyond the bushes there. We're cutting out early today because it does get hot down here pretty fast. And it's sort of miserable rock hounding when it's really hot. So if I have time, I'm going to hit another spot that I've been to before along the Rio Grande River. And then that should officially be the end of this week of rock hounding West Texas. It reached 96 degrees. Definitely time to move on. I found my way down here along the shore of the Rio Grande River. It's a really pretty spot. I've been here before. I came here, gosh, 2 years ago maybe. Found several nice agates in these cobbles. Unfortunately, the conditions right now are not very good. I did just spot this piece of it's banded shirt. You can see it there, I think. That's sort of fun. But I don't know if I'll be able to pick an agate out of this mess here. But I'm gonna try. This rock here caught my eye. It just looked interesting. I squatted down to look at it and noticed this one next to it might actually be an agate. It has some agate-y qualities to it. Let me go ahead and get it out and let's see what we're looking at here. Well, I got it out, and unfortunately it's not an agate. It's maybe quartzite, perhaps? I broke a big section off here and you can see it's clearly not an agate. I just spotted this, which appears to be agate. You see that banding right there? Let's see. Okay. It's not that big. Let me get this wet. Well, as agates go, it's not much, but it is somewhat agate-y. Not worth keeping. But maybe I'm on the trail here. I found a rock that's not great, but I'll probably keep it because it's interesting. Look, I broke an edge off, and you see that pattern in there? I find that interesting. I spotted it because this is what I saw on the top side. It just looked interesting, had some red in it. So at least I will not go away empty-handed. This one looks sort of interesting here. Yeah, I don't think it's an agate. In fact, I'm pretty sure it isn't. But let me get it up and find out for sure. I think I would call this a banded rhyolite. There's a lot of this out here, and it is pretty. You know, you could slab it, but it's not an agate, so it's staying here. I know it's not much, but I just found an agate. This is a little agate nodule. I can see the chalcedony in it. And look at there, even a little bit of banding. Woohoo! Well, wouldn't you know it, in the middle of all this, I just found this big old seam of moss agate. Look at that. This is the same stuff I was finding a little earlier today at East Needle Peak. Well, I shouldn't say it's the same stuff. This floated down the Rio Grande from somewhere out west. This is a perfect size too. Just great for slabbing. Really close to that last slab of agate I found. I just spotted this one. Tell me that's not beautiful. Oh yeah, this is a nice big chunk of it too. There's some chalcedony there. Wow, maybe I've found the jackpot over here. What do you know? Looks like the sun is trying to tell me it's time to quit. Yeah, it's starting to get dark. Well, I guess I will walk back to my truck and see if I can find anything else. If I don't, at least I got a couple of decent agates, and that makes me happy. Well, what do you know? I spotted this interesting looking rock. It appears to be some sort of quartzy agate. You see all that in there? Are those quartz crystals growing, or is that something else? I don't know, but I'm definitely gonna take this home and slab it. Well, that's a wrap. This very long video is now over. Thank you so much for coming along, and I think now you can see why I decided to break this up into different parts. It was just going to be way too long. Even with some diligent editing, it still was going to get close to 2 hours, and there's just no reason for a 2-hour video on YouTube. Well, once again, thank you for coming along. I sure appreciate it, and check back often to see what I do with some of these wonderful rocks that I was able to find out here in West Texas. And here's how to reach Terry Smith.